I asked the SCP Discord that I'm part of. It's a small little group. Actually, no, it's not really that small, is it? No, it is. I would say around 100 people. It's not small, but it's oh no, it's not 100. It's like 80. Small group, but also not small. Like I asked them if would they rather be befriended with either SCP-096 or SCP-682, or would they rather have an actual way to terminate those SCPs? And I'm going to ask you guys the same question. Would you rather be friends with one of them? Like, they would not kill you. You can look at 096's face and he will not kill you for some odd reason. Or 682 for some odd reason likes you and it doesn't have anything against you. Or would you be the one who finally figures out how to get rid of them? While you guys are thinking about that, I shall think about the next one. It's become what we call Bird Soul in Your House. Oh yeah, also while you think, like, comment, subscribe. And it's a pretty decent long one, but it's not anything too bad. It's a Euclid. So here we go, the last one. Manifestation of SCP-1559 are to be removed from the original location and sheltered in Site-77 once discovered. All currently known SCP-1559 manifestations are contained in a high-security containment chamber at Site-77. Anyone requiring direct contact with SCP-1559 is to receive protective memetic inoculation against the effects of SCP-1559. Personnel already influenced by SCP-1559 are to receive Class A amnestics to eliminate the mental effects of the project. An example of SCP-1559 with English content observed at Street in Canary Wharf, London. By the way, Monsi, I'm not sure like by now if you already had your dinner, but I hope you enjoy your dinner. And yeah. Oh my god, that's cute. Sorry. Anyone requiring direct contact with SCP-1559 is to receive protective memetic inoculation against the effects of SCP-1559. Personnel already influenced by the SCP-1559. Oh, I've already read that. Never mind. SCP-1559 is a set of posters displaying the content "If you still listen to birds" in different languages. The language used in a specific SCP-1559 manifestation depends on the native language of the creators and the primary language of the place SCP-1559 appears. Also known as -1. See below for detailed description. SCP-1559 was discovered in 1997 during an environmentalist storming of a local KFC restaurant in Florida, USA, with several individuals later identified as -1 carrying placards with manifestations of SCP-1559. A total of 144 manifestations of SCP-1559 have been found in many cities including London, New York, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Singapore, Madrid, Paris, etc. The manifestations are generally found in the downtown and business area, and current information suggests that areas with a high incidence of birds mortality are more likely to have SCP-1559 posted. In rare cases, instances of SCP-1559 will be carried by individuals of -1 rather than being posted somewhere. The anomalous properties of SCP-1559 will be activated when any human individual looks at manifestation of SCP-1559 for more than 5 seconds, upon which the human individual is then transformed to an -1 entity. Once the anomalous properties of the items are triggered, the individual will become extremely sensitive to bird calls and will acquire the ability to understand the meaning of the bird calls. Okay. After a period of time, the -1 individual will exhibit the following 5 symptoms in chronological order: showing a special fondness for birds, developing beliefs regarding birds or divines, attempting to protect birds and or provide nesting sites, food and water for birds at any cost. That's why the KFC charge, because birds. Showing extreme distaste for consumption of bird species, so no more chicken. I could not live like that. I love myself some chicken. Mimicking birds in their daily life behaviors. At the same time, -1 individuals will automatically gain knowledge of how to create SCP-1559 manifestations. Yeah, you want to keep those birds protected. These individuals will make additional manifestations of SB1559 and attempt to post them in the eligible locations described above. Dash 1 may translate the language of the bird in a language that others can understand, but all refuse or claim to be unable to represent or demonstrate the process of creating SB1559 manifestation. A male resplendent quetzal. It looks really beautiful, I gotta say. And then number 1. Interviewing record 1559-20120614A. To further investigate the nature of SB1559, D19289, male, 41 years old, were asked to look unprotected at an example of SB1559 written in his native language for 30 seconds. D19289 was then confirmed to have successfully transformed into an individual of Dash 1. He was asked to live under surveillance in a forest cabin in Yucatan, Mexico, and to record the information contained in the bird calls he heard. Interviews with D19289 were conducted every 30 days. So on the 14th of April 2012, D19289 got interviewed by Dr. Abuzo, Level 2 researcher in Site 77. Good morning! How are you feeling today? Better than ever. Oh, it's good to be happy. Can you give me a brief description? The pleasant sound of bird song here is very relaxing. Lately, many birds outside have been clamoring for a date because it's spring now, as you know. It's a nice treat to hear the birds singing to their beloved mates and enticing them to spend a gentle night together. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. But how did you know that they are calling for mates? Can you understand what they're talking about? Yes, after staring at the strange poster, I think. Would you mind telling me about the contents you heard from the birds? I'd certainly be happy to share. Well, I think spring is the breeding season, so many birds are looking for mates. Other than that, it is basically all about which area has better tasting fruits, and which tree has more fat worms, and just foraging for food. But there's other stuff too, like, for example, occasionally some birds are frightened by wild animals, and they will try to call for help to scare off the enemies. Some very small-mouthed birds also gossip, such as where they saw some people in the nearby town find their homes and other stuff like that. Another notable one, which I like hearing, but I don't quite understand the content, is something like a poem. A poem? Yes, many of the birds are here chant poetry. The content is largely similar to It seems almost like a narrative poem. One small bird in particular, with green back feathers and red belly feathers and a long tail, is particularly fond of singing this. Other birds often sing it, but I like it best when the poem is sung by the little green bird. Kind of odd to hear that a quetzal makes a poem, and knowing that Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club, her favorite animal is a quetzal, and she loves doing poems herself. There's a connection there. Care to tell me what they are about? Sure, I've got that on paper. I'll look for it. Children of the second sun, lost as the flame fell down, their world has been deeply buried. Only the sky still opens its arms for them. Messengers of the second sun, soaring above the earth, their splendor has been forgotten by most. Only a few still listen to their song. Descendants of the second sun, wandering through the flow of time, that the sire has never been abandoned, that the kingdom will reborn from the ashes. The last obsession is still circulating, the last descendants are still wandering, that a few still listen to birds. What do you make of this poem? I said I'm not quite clear about this, but it felt kind of moody. Very much the kind of lost civilization. Also, the songs from the little green birds are really nice. Okay, I see. We'll allow you to stay here for a few more days. Thank you very much for your cooperation. That'd be great. And now we have a month later. Okay. Long time no see. Why don't you guys let me out and go and rescue the birds? I'm sorry, what did you just say? To find food and water for the birds, to build a nest, to keep them away from the natural enemies. You're still declassing the Foundation. You're not allowed to leave. You should let me out. All regulations set by you lowly humans are just nothing. What do you mean? Listen, serving the birds is our duty. The earth was once the kingdom of birds, with nothing but a surplus. There should have been the mass of this place. What are you talking about? Do you mean the poem? That is not just a poem. That is a fact that once happened on Earth. Well, as far as I know, this has never happened. The civilization of birds is much more holy than ours. Our civilization is dirty, ugly, and it originates from sneaky actions. We should atone, lady. Of course it's a lady. We should return the world to them. The birds have told me all these things. They have told me about their fallen glory civilization. They are the children of the second sun. The fact is that the birds are species that emerged quite late, at least as far as we know. Birds are far away from being intelligent enough to build a civilization. Humans have done so much shit to the planet. Don't try to make excuses for the despicable words and actions of humans. End log. The interview was aborted once over the following months, the staff members responsible for guarding D19289 repeatedly complained that D19289 had attempted to force his way out of his room to rescue birds outside the cabin, and were also frequently asking the staff members if they had ever eaten any of the birds. If a staff member responded in the affirmative, D19289 would verbally abuse and attack the staff member. In addition, D19289 continued to ask the staff members for a large amount of naturally fallen bird feathers and wore clothing and accessories made from bird feathers in his daily life. You got a bit extreme there, aren't you? June. Why are you dressed like that? To bring me closer to a more noble form of life. So you still insist on your opinion that birds are nobler than people. It's a fact, Doctor. There have been many wise people like me. Is that what you heard from these birds too? Yes. Those little green birds told me that their clan has always been responsible for passing on the history of birds. Okay, so have they told you? I would love to know. The native people here, they began to regard the birds as gods to serve and care for them, just as they and we should do. You know. The native people, you mean the Aztecs and Mayans? That's right. The damn colonists ruined it all. After that, the bird believers disappeared and the little birds stopped singing as happily as they did before the colonists came because no one continued to listen to birds anymore. But the descendants of the Aztecs and Mayans are still alive, aren't they? It's all about faith, Doctor. Faith. There's hardly anyone who believes in birds anymore or knows the sins that once committed against birds. Well, I think I don't have more questions to ask. You do this completely today. Do you have any other things you want to say or ask? Do you eat birds? After the experiment, D19289 received Class A amnestics. Thereafter, D19289 demonstrated no further obsession with birds. Likewise, he's no longer had the ability to understand or use bird language. Okay, so once you have a complete mind wipe, you're good. Well, let's see if there's more interviews. Also, this was 2012 or like that. Ah, God, my nose is so itchy. Interviewing record 1559-207. 20170426F with the individual -1-A. After several years of investigation and interrogation, the Foundation confirmed the identity of -1-A, the original maker of SB1559, as a 69-year-old male, Juan Alvarado. -1-A is a native of Nahua, Mexico, and a former zoologist studying birds of prey. After this identity was confirmed, -1-A agreed to be interviewed at the request of the Foundation. Is this the last? Yeah, this is the last interview. Good morning, Mr. Alvarado. Let's cut to the chase. We just want to ask you about these those posters. Holds up the image of 1559. Are you the original creator of these posters? Well, you guessed right. Yes, we are not intending to harm you. We just want to ask to explain how and why you did it. Sorry, actually the principle is not very clear to me. I can't express the process. I could demonstrate all the technical details to you, but I refuse to do so, given that you may want to stop our action. Well, I respect your opinion for the moment. Could you tell us if you learned this technique from somewhere or did you invent it yourself? The technology used for creating this was handed down in our culture from ancient times, and I just modernized it a little. Just things like replacing the manual work drawing with a printer, replacing the content with more concise and understandable text, and making it a poster. You know, now that the whole world is developing quickly, something like this should also change with the times. I still don't get the point. Are there any reasons for creating such things? It's what we believe in. Belief? Do you mean the belief that birds are more advanced than humans? That humans stole the civilization of birds or something? There are very few people who believe in birds anymore. Very few are still listening to birds, doctor. There are very few people left who are truly wise, who are willing to redeem themselves, who are willing to accept true knowledge. So you're saying that there used to be a lot of them. I did hear some stories about the Aztecs or the Mayans believing in birds. There was once many people who believed in birds in this land. The ancient priests, by chance, received a revelation from the feathered serpent, I assume Kukulkan, mastered the technique of creating these things, and then learned to listen to the birds. Thus, we were able to better listen to the voice of the gods. Now, this valuable wisdom has been almost lost, and I think it's my duty to keep it alive. I don't quite understand. As far as we know, these posts do make people believe in birds, but I don't quite understand what this has to do with the feathered serpent. The birds were always singing a ballad over and over again. All birds can sing the ballad, but Resplendent Quetzal sang the most and the best. This ballad described the revelations of the feathered serpent, which is why Resplendent Quetzal were regarded as incarnations of the feathered serpent. The ballad? Do you mean the poem that ends with a few still listen to the birds? Yes. The poem tells us that human beings do not necessarily deserve everything they got, and that our ancestors stole the earth from the birds while their world was in chaos. Sorry, no offense to your beliefs, Mr. Alvarado, but I must say that as a zoologist who studies birds, you should also be well aware that birds have never dominated the earth. It is true that the birds have not, but their ancestors did. It is not just by my gibberish, science can prove it. Ancestors? Wait, you mean dinosaurs? Indeed, dinosaurs are considered to be the ancestors of birds, that is to say... You see, in traditional Aztec belief, the second sun, the feathered serpent, came down to create the third generation of the Earth's inhabitants, which was destroyed by the rain of flame. While we are still trying to study the history of the Earth, the birds have already told us everything. Isn't that enough of a statement? Could you please explain? You should know that some of the species of dinosaurs had feathers just like the legendary feathered serpent god. After all, the descendants of the feathered serpent god should have similar appearance to the feathered serpent god, right? Then, 65 million years ago, a meteorite landed here on the Yucatan Peninsula, bringing with it a rain of fire. All of this has been fully described by the poem by our ancient and sacred belief. Isn't that enough? But, I mean, why do you make these posters? I can't see any logical connection between what you're saying and these posters. I don't understand. What does this have to do with us? For 65 million years, the descendants of dinosaurs have not forgotten their previous glory. They have always wanted to redominate the earth that once belonged to them. We, on the other hand, should atone for what we have done in the past. We should serve the birds as we serve our gods. We should return the world to them. This is what the posters can tell people. This is what the posters can tell people about. The mammals stole their world, and the birds are not asking too much for it. He's un poco loco, eh? A little bit crazy. A little bit insane. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. But hey, man. Birds. They're the masters. And he made it obvious that they're his master for sure. Alright.